Yeah! We're in Texas! It's the Six Flags Over Texas review!
That's right, we're not from Texas. That's right, you're not from Texas. That's right, you're not from Texas. Texas wants you anyway.
I came back from Texas. I had the greatest time.
You got an accent.
Got an accent.
You got some barbecue.
Oh, had the greatest barbecue I've ever had in my life. Down there at the Salt Lick.
Checked out the Schlitterbahn, the original.
Yes, sir. Did some of that Schlitterbahning. Only took an hour to find the entrance. Not bad. Not bad.
No, not bad. Can't say that for the park, unfortunately.
Not good. Not good.
Yeah, that's more like
No way, pool man. Kind of bullshit is that?
I don't know. You saw the Alamo.
I remember the Alamo. I remember the Ripley's Museum. About 10 yards away. That was pretty good, too.
The 3 Ripley's attractions across the street.
No, okay, so all the fun aside, the silly accents. Yeah, we went to Texas. I think it got brought up on the show. I don't know if it ended up on the cutting room floor or if it made it an episode at some point. I don't know.
I think it was mentioned, maybe in passing once or twice.
We actually went to Texas for the first time in our lives back in May of last year, 2014.
Texas doesn't have a ton of parks. We had to add a couple more in from the surrounding
Oh, yeah,
area.
we should mention that. We actually started in Little Rock,
Yeah,
Arkansas. We flew into Little Rock.
to check out Magic Springs.
Right. And then we drove into Oklahoma City area to check out Frontier City before heading down south into Texas from there. We did Over Texas. We did Fiesta, Texas. We did SeaWorld in Texas.
Oh no, and we went to Galveston.
And then we did, there's 2 pier parks that we did.
Okay.
The Galveston Pleasure Pier and the...
I know, I'm blanking on it
The
too.
I don't remember other pier.
The
last one.
Kima.
Kima! So, that's some background. Yeah, Over Texas was kind of smack dab in the middle of like the week we did. And I think it was the part I was anticipating the most. And I guess it kind of delivered the most at the same time.
Yeah, that was probably the best park.
Yeah,
of the trip.
it was my single favorite park.
I remember when we were pulling up to Six Flags Over Texas, and you said to me, Brian, this is a pilgrimage, because after Disneyland, this is like the next most important theme park in modern theme park history.
Yes.
It did a bunch of things for the first time, established some norms that we see today.
But it started the Six Flags company. It basically started the regional park chain, the modern regional park chain.
Yeah. It was the first theme park chain.
I don't know if some guy at Coney Island in New York at some point had more than one or something.
No. I'm not talking about.
But that's small shit. Again, we're talking
I'm
modern.
not talking about boardwalk parks. I'm not talking about
talking modern
the modern theme park
history, which really started in '55 with Disneyland, and then went from there.
Also, the first to offer pay one price admission. Very interesting that they did not follow Disney with the ticket system. They decided, we're just going to charge one price at the gate, and then you get in, and you don't have to worry about all these tickets and paying for all these rides and shit.
Yeah, they pioneered pay one price.
So
they did it
very forward thinking.
before Disney did it. Disney actually followed the regionals in that regard. Bet they're glad they did. Now they're about to charge over $100 per park in any day now, literally.
Yeah.
By the time this comes out, it may have already happened. But we finally made it to the source, to the first one, and that was kind of cool.
And I think that if you're a huge theme park lover like we are, that you should try, if you can, at some point in your life, to make it to Six Flags Over Texas.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Because it's not just Six Flags, it's just all the modern regionals. That was really where it started.
Yeah, this is ground zero.
Disney was on their own plane doing their own thing since '55, but it was there in outside of Dallas or Arlington, Texas, in 1961, where really the template for what we know as the regional park industry now really was set. Although not without a heavy Disneyland influence, of course.
Oh, we'll get into that.
Especially in the opening few seasons of that park. It what became the Six Flags flavor or the Six Flags staples started coming in a little bit after that. But we'll get into all of it.
4 categories: layout, theme, food, and rides. And each category, 1 to 6. The park can achieve 6 possible points in each category
Okay, 6.
because of Six Flags. So we have 6.
Yeah, that's how we started that, right?
That's right.
Yes.
That is our arbitrary rating system.
I love it.
So how about that layout?
How about it?
Well, when the park first opened, it was very similar to Disneyland's layout.
All right, you're being very kind. It was a Disneyland ripoff layout. Well, no, that's actually not a good statement. They gave it the tri-oval shape that Disneyland also originally had before some expansion. But initially, the entire park was within the railroad tracks, and it had a tri-oval shape. That's kind of a racing term, by the way. It's the shape of Pocono Raceway. They call it a tri-oval.
Oh, okay.
That's what that is. I don't know what else to call it. I don't know how else. It's kind of triangular with rounded edges.
But yeah, it's a very soft triangle.
Yeah. So they kind of started with that. Other than that, though, the layout is actually not the same because it doesn't have a singular main street that leads to a hub with spokes that lead out to the theme lands. It does not have that. From the very beginning, it was a little bit of a mishmash.
Yeah.
They kind of went anti-Main Street. You kind of just walk in and kind of slam into a wall, for lack of a better term, right? It's just, I don't think the carousel was even there originally. It was just kind of a court with flags. The original Six Flags, it was just kind of stopped you. And you had to go either left or right, like right off the bat. They totally decided to not even bother with any kind of a themed entry street.
Or an icon at the end of that street in the center of the park.
Yes, also.
They did not do that either.
They just used 6 flagpoles with the 6 flags that they originally, the 6 nations that at one point either had ownership of or influenced heavily Texas, the area that is modern day Texas.
Yeah, which are they correspond to the theme lands, the 6 theme lands.
6 original theme lands. Yes.
Yeah, they have Mexico, Spain, Texas,
Yeah.
France, the United States, and the Confederacy.
They haven't wanted to completely eliminate any one of the original 6 areas because even Six Flags gives this park a little more respect than the others in terms of the history of it, because it is their original. So they've tried harder than they've tried in any of the other Six Flags, even the other 2 original ones, which are over Georgia and St. Louis. They've tried hardest in this one to maintain the original 6 lands as best they can. So yeah, the Confederacy, they changed it to Old South because times changed and too much allusion to the Confederacy, that just that name, I guess, and then what it represents kind of has become more controversial than it was in 1961. So they made it Old South, but it's still the same area. And
Yeah,
then,
well, it's-
and the United States kind of probably changed the most in terms of just the area itself.
The themed lands, according to the current map, are Mexico and Spain. They sort of combined stuff, I guess, over the years. So you have Mexico and Spain as one themed area.
All right.
Tower.
Oh, jeez. What the hell does that mean?
That's extremely lazy.
I don't remember that. Okay.
Star Mall.
That's the entrance.
Yeah. Texas.
Yeah!
Old South and France.
I combine those two.
USA and Bugs Bunny Boomtown. They love combining them.
Oh, that's right. The other side of USA, became most of the kiddie area. Right. Okay.
Yeah. Good Times Square, which is where the Skyscreamer is, off to the right side of the park. Gotham City. And Boomtown.
Oh, is that by the giant in the back?
No, Boomtown
No? Okay. I'm wrong.
is where Runaway Mine Train is, and Pandemonium.
Okay.
Over there.
Oh, the oil derrick town, where there's
Yes.
just like 8 different effigies of oil derricks, like all over the place.
Yeah.
Oil town.
So, I mean, the naming of them is really messy because they tried to keep the original names, but I guess really they wanted to do away with them, but they felt like they couldn't. And it's just a mess with, at least in name.
Well, let's not pretend it's not a mess when you're actually walking through either. It's
No,
because it is.
It's just as messy today as any Six Flags park.
Sure.
So, well, what do you think of the layout they have currently?
All right. Yeah. So yeah. All right. We're going through a little history, but yes, this is a review of today, not 1961. I was not there in 1961. I can honestly say that. It's not a good layout. It's a confusing maze.
Yes.
Of all the things for them to not copy from Disneyland, that was probably the biggest blunder. I don't know why they didn't just take the hub and spoke model. Why didn't they?
I don't know.
The entries and exits to each land are not all that clearly defined, so you barely even know when you're changing from one to the next.
Yeah, that's true.
And again, it's hard. There's a couple of like when you go back to get to the Texas Giant, you have to that's a bottleneck. You cross like a bridge, and then it's just a dead end bottleneck, and you gotta double back again.
Yeah, and going to Titan, that's a dead
that's
end.
awful. That was obviously like backstage or something at one point.
Oh yeah,
where they built that coaster. You walk all the way like around the side of Texas Giant to get there. You gotta walk like a mile back, it seems. That's totally out of the way. There's that other area, but where the Schwarzkopf is.
Oh, that's right.
Another dead end. This is where it's just Schwarzkopf, that Schwarzkopf ride, Shockwave, right?
Yes, Shockwave.
Shockwave, and go-karts. And that was pretty much all that was back there. So...
And Gotham City is a dead end?
Oh, that's right. All of Gotham City is another dead end.
I really don't like this layout. We had to do a lot of backtracking, and it just seemed like we had to walk a lot to get anywhere. And it was confusing how to even get to Shockwave, how to get to Titan. It was terrible.
It was also kind of confusing between the Old South and whatever the area that's next to that is. Texas? That was kind of confusing the first couple times you walk through there.
That's a maze.
You can take a shortcut through that JB's barbecue, but it's all weird. It's all like you turn into one of those streets, like the Texas Street, but at first it took you a minute to realize where you were. And then it really felt like you should have been able to get back to the would-be hub, that Star Mall, from the Old South, but you couldn't.
Yeah, that area, the Old South Texas area is, like you were saying, it's a total maze.
Yeah.
That's the messiest part of the park in terms of walkways.
So, not a good layout.
No.
And apparently, again, looking at the original maps, I mean, it never was. It's not even something that they crapped up in recent times. It's just like, from the very start, they just didn't really have a hold on, what a good layout would be. They knew they wanted to do a train around the perimeter, and
they wanted to have a big river section off to the right side of the park.
Right, as opposed to the left side in Disneyland, but they just mirrored it. But they did do like a Rivers of America, their own version of it, only it's French. They did a turnpike ride, kind of copying the original Autopia.
Yeah, off on the right side of the
USA.
park.
USA is sort of the closest thing to what would have been Tomorrowland.
Yeah.
The way they did it. Like, they copied that, and again, the shape of the park, that triangular shape, they got that, but then they didn't think that the way it was laid out was important, I guess.
I guess
that was not worth copying Disneyland on that one, I guess. It's weird. They went for the more traditional, the campground parks, the picnic grove parks, where it was just a maze to get lost in.
Yeah.
Knoebels and what it still is today. They went for that.
Funny.
Like, we'll just have that was the point where they stopped like copying Disney with what Disney had kind of set as this is what a modern park should be, and they went old school with it. And they went, we'll do the maze where you get lost for the whole day, so you can't even find the entrance until 8 to 12 hours later when you finally leave, which is weird and doesn't make any sense, especially when you were going to pioneer the pay one price. So that didn't matter if you crossed the entrance 5 times throughout your day. You weren't going to leave. It wasn't like getting lost was going to keep you there, because you already had paid your money. Yeah. After that, you paid for all these rides. You're going to do them. You're going to find them and do them. So why did they go with the maze layout? I don't get it. And to this, and it's only become more confusing because now you have extra dead ends and things as they expanded.
So, what do you?
I give it a 1.
Yeah, I was gonna.
Do we do zeros? Have you ever done that before? No, it has to register somewhere, right?
No, 0
We do
would
halves.
be like it doesn't exist.
We do half steps. I know we do half steps.
Yes, you can give it a half.
I'll give it a 1.
I mean,
Is that too harsh?
I'm
I don't
trying-
know. Actually, maybe I don't know. Maybe
I'm trying
2.
to think of like what's a worse laid out park.
Animal Kingdom.
Oh,
Fuck that park
It's like that.
where they
and-
force you to double back to the hub,
yeah,
as if that's a
bad.
good idea. And it's like twice the size of Over Texas.
You know, I would maybe even say SeaWorld.
Oh no,
All
but
the SeaWorlds, especially Orlando, is just so confusing.
that's even worse. Yes,
I mean, even something
than
like
Over Texas.
San Antonio, SeaWorld San Antonio, where it's just this giant loop.
That was
It
okay.
takes
with-
you forever to get anywhere.
It's too big for itself, but
Yeah.
it's laid out fine because it's just a loop.
It's just a loop.
It's not
yeah,
confusing.
But it's
You don't
just
get
so
lost.
but it's too big.
Yeah, it's too
And
big
that
of a
makes
loop.
it bad.
But yeah, Orlando and San Diego
And San Diego's confusing too.
are awful. There would be worse than this. And of course, Bush Tampa.
Oh, the ultimate. Oh my god.
Still worse. Still worse.
I think you said this.
That's the half. If there's a half somewhere, that's it.
Yeah, the last time we went or something, right before we went, you said, I still can't picture that park, walking through that park in my head because I have no idea where anything is in relation to each other.
No, it's awful.
Okay, so maybe this is more like a 2 then.
Yeah, let's go 2. It's not good, but there's a lot worse.
All right, next up, theme. Theming is, I think, in typical Six Flags fashion, it's kind of all over the place.
Like typical Six Flags, it's just the ridiculously long history of different managements, different ownerships, different eras.
Yeah.
That really is to blame for that, of why it's so inconsistent. Because you had the original concept, which I think they were going for Disney style. I don't know if I could say Disney quality theming. At least Disney style. Although, I mean, how good was Disneyland themed in '61?
This was probably on par with that.
I mean, it probably was. Again, we weren't there, but just looking at pictures and video that exists, yeah, they really stepped up their game after World was built and going through the 70s into the 80s.
Yes.
More. That's when they became what we know now as what Disney quality is. Those earlier years, the
50s and 60s?
the first 10 to 15, yeah, it wasn't quite as because it was impressive. It was as impressive as it had to be for that time, I think, to make people's jaws drop at that time. But they didn't have to go as far as you have to go today.
Yes,
Because
that's true.
people hadn't seen any kind of theme yet, so anything was impressive. So yeah, probably what they initially did was probably just about as good as Disney quality for that time. So the initial concept, the initial build, anything that's more or less original that's there in the park, the structures are still really nice. They do keep them up nice.
Well, it's like you said earlier. I think they give this park a little extra care and attention because it is the first.
Yeah, I definitely was getting that when we were walking through the
Yeah.
first time. And also, they did have their 50th, it was 2011. Obviously, I guess it was opening
Yeah.
61, so 2011 was their 50th. So I think they may have done a lot of sprucing up for that. That even as of we were in sort of earlier in the 2014 season, we were still seeing the benefits of that. Still, that hasn't gotten a chance to deteriorate again. Another 10 years, it might look like shit again. I don't know.
Oh, I'm sure. And the thing is, yeah, the Mexico, Spain, and Texas areas did look pretty nice.
Yeah, those original zones definitely did. France did too.
Oh, that's
you
right,
could see
yeah.
the remnants of what was left. There's almost nothing left of France.
Yeah. It's a very small area now.
But what is left, they still have like the fort facade going, and that was still impressive. It was like real tree logs. No different than what Disneyland did with the original Frontierland entrance.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
They did do a good job originally, and then of course I guess you have the Warner Brothers era was probably the second best where they put the most into theming in Six Flags history. So again, anything that was done in that era was pretty good, if not very good, some of it. And then you have the eras in between those. So you have all this mixed in the same park, which is really no different than any other Six Flags. With the ones that have the longer history, especially. Usually, a park is supposed to be a clockwise loop, generally.
Sure.
Again, that was kind of one of those things that was set by Disneyland. They set the tone. But yeah, clockwise became the way. Of course, except for the one that always sticks out of my mind is Islands of Adventure.
Oh,
where they
right,
actually
yeah.
went, the intended direction is counterclockwise in that park. Although it works better clockwise anyway, and that's how we always do it.
That's right.
Because then you just get the best rides to start the day and end of the day. Instead of only getting them at the end and not getting them in the beginning. So.
Yeah.
So how we did it, we went right first over Texas.
I mean left.
I mean left first.
Yeah.
What did I say?
You said right.
My other right.
The other one, the other right, your other right.
Yes, whatever I said. Left.
Yeah, it's really a very pretty park. If you're going that way in that direction until you get to the back.
Yeah,
by
because
the old Derek.
Because you start out in all original areas going that way.
So anyway, theming on the left side of the park, very nice. Theming in that back section is like almost non-existent. By the old Derek and the Shockwave,
so Tower
and Superman,
and-
that's all bad.
That's part of Tower, I guess. The Shockwave Plaza.
Yes. That's
We're
all
calling
part
it
of Tower.
that. That's our name for it, but that's all part
Yeah,
of
the
Tower.
old Derek to Superman.
Is all Tower.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a mishmash. Of course, Superman outside of Gotham.
Well, I mean,
Well, not that he belongs in Gotham,
yeah,
but
it doesn't belong there anyway.
outside of
the
the comic. Yeah, okay. There you go.
Ba-dum-tsh.
Yes, outside of the comic book zone. Makes no sense at all. Roaring Rapids is just generic.
The Boomtown area was okay. It was pretty good actually. Not great, not as good as
Well, yeah, theme kind of...
some of the other sections, but
But it's like, yeah, theme restores itself at that point a little bit more.
yeah.
But still not as good. Because that also not quite original, right? That's a little bit later.
But also the Aquaman Shoot the Chutes ride, also outside of the comic book town.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So and then Gotham City is fine. It's not the best Gotham City. It's
That's far from the... I don't know, it's...
yeah. Who was the best one? Magic Mountain.
Magic Mountain.
Yeah.
For sure. The rest of them are all pretty crappy. Then the walk back to the Star Mall, the rest of it is, yeah, they went like way extreme with the flat facade.
Yeah, they completely covered any buildings that were there.
Yeah, it's just nothing but just these giant scale, just flat, like plywood painted facades. They did have neon lighting on most of it though, so at night it looked
Yeah.
kind of nice. But it's just something I've never seen in any other Six Flags park, and we've been to all of them at this
Yeah.
point.
Yep.
So it's unusual. They just kind of went for it in this one park.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like a Six Flags staple, so it's interesting.
Yeah, and it's pretty ugly.
Yeah, the sum total of it is it's pretty ugly. It's supposed to be a kind of a loony city, and the characters themselves are painted on it. It's just a weird mess. And then the actual Looney Tunes Boomtown, where the kiddie rides are, that's just sort of average. And then you're back to the Star Mall, which was, a formidable entry plaza.
Yeah, it's fine. They
It's
got a
not-
fountain. They got.
Yeah, it's a fountain with a carousel backdrop.
Yeah.
It's not meant to be much more than that. The pre-park entrance is nice.
Oh yeah, that is.
And I don't think any other Six Flags has that. Like, only the first time did they even bother to do that. Even the very second one in Georgia. You just kind of
Yeah.
like on the street, and then the theme buildings don't start until after the turnstile. But in Texas, they did like a themed walk up before the turnstiles.
Yeah, where the trams drop you off.
And it's pretty nice.
It is nice.
Before you even get in, you're already kind of put into a better mood. So, I don't know. What would you give that? What is typical Six Flags? 3? Is it half?
I was gonna say 3. Yeah.
Is that too harsh? I don't know. 3.5 then?
I'm fine with that. 3.5.
3.5 Lone Stars.
Okay, next up is food.
Everything they have is what they have at the other Six Flags parks. And we've tried it all at some point. And we know enough at this point that it's the same across the board.
Yeah, they got Johnny Rockets. They got the JB's Smokehouse Barbecue. They got
Panda Express.
Panda Express.
The pizza.
What else they got?
It's now.
Oh,
I always forget what it is now because they did oust Papa John's. Is it Primo's?
Oh, Primo's.
It is Primo's.
Yeah, Primo's.
It's not Mama. Okay, Primo's.
They got your Stone Cold Creamery.
And that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so.
And also your burgers and chicken strips, that kind of shit too.
Yeah, so it didn't have anything unique to just this park, as far as what we could tell.
So what do you think? What do you give it?
So I'll give the pretzel with those sauces. It's a that's a solid, 2.
Do you want to tell the folks at home what we do, what we like to do?
Oh, sure.
At mainly Six Flags. I'm trying to think if there's another park that we do this with. I'm not sure if
For
there
me,
is.
it's only Six Flags.
Yeah, okay.
I've never done it anywhere else. And you started it, so you
Oh, okay.
it really was, yeah.
If you find yourself at a Six Flags park and you don't want to subject yourself to the nasty burgers and the shitty pizza and their totally kickin' famous chicken strips, I don't know why they call them famous.
The gruel.
It's really weird. Yeah. If you don't want to do that, here's what I suggest. Get a pretzel. Well, I guess you can only do this if you can handle gluten, I guess. If you need a gluten-free meal, I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you.
You're fucked.
Grab a pretzel and grab the. Usually the sauces are free. They just have them out near the food locations. And grab a bunch of the sauces. They usually have barbecue and some sort of blue cheese or ranch and
Honey mustard. Sweet and
maybe
sour.
Sweet and sour, yeah. So grab a bunch of those sauces on a pretzel and have at it. I think it's fun. I like it.
That's what we did, yeah, at over Texas.
Of course, it's not a full meal, but it's just something to get you through the day until the park closes, and then you can get your proper meal.
So you can get your steak and shake.
Right.
Because...
So, yeah, do that. Do the pretzel thing. Or grab a funnel cake.
then after the pretzel, yeah, I got a funnel cake. A Six Flags famous funnel cake.
So, yeah, they still do a good funnel cake. So,
it's hard to mess up, honestly.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it is an excellent funnel cake.
So grab snacks is essentially what we're saying.
Yeah, just
don't get an actual meal.
Fill up on pretzels and funnel cakes. A lot of carbs in there. A lot of carbs and sugar.
Yeah.
Not really good for you, but...
No, not at all.
Just do it.
So, food, what is it's shit. It's like I don't know.
One funnel cake. One famous funnel cake.
I saw miles and miles of Texas, all the stars up in the sky. I saw miles